This is Underground Experiments Radio, and we're here with some beautiful energy and some beautiful individuals. Absolutely. We are live here at the world's first ever Munchie Cup.
Woo! Yes. Did you get a chance to try some of the munchies?
Of course.
Awesome. What did you like?
That one that exploded in my mouth.
Oh yes, the Incredibles bar.
Yes, Incredibles has some great edibles.
Yes.
In fact, Charles and I are originally born in the heart of Wisconsin. We moved out here. One of the first edibles we've ever had was an Incredible. Feeling good. And it is a beautiful, beautiful atmosphere, a beautiful fire around us.
Yes.
And in us.
In us. And in us.
And all around us.
And all around us.
Yeah.
It's an honor just to speak with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're super blessed and grateful to have you perform for us.
Oh yeah, those
today.
Performances were amazing this morning.
You know, life is like a stage, you know. We're all playing our part.
Yes.
And on, on one level it's a performance, and I like to sometimes call it a prayer.
Our first radio platform was in FM in New York.
FM in New York. I'm born and raised in New York. So.
Absolutely. But we're super blessed to be here in this particular area.
Right here, right now, in Colorado, where ganja is illegal.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I come from a place where I travel a lot, you know. So I'm in places like India where they smoke ganja.
Yes.
And they smoke ganja traditionally and culturally for thousands of years. And the ones that smoke the ganja are the holy men. So the priest, it's their medicine. It's their ritual with the medicine. And that's something that I don't think we in the West know of too much.
Absolutely. I feel like that's something that we should try to educate some more individuals about.
Yeah. Of course you know about Rastas. You hear about some, like Bob Marley, also holding it as sacred herb. And Shiva is the Lord of dance and transformation. And he is, his favorite treat is the ganja. Is the marijuana.
What's the story of the sacred Dooney and the big gathering that we were at in India last year, where they use it there?
Well, they always have a sacred fire, and they have the sacred pipe. They call it chillum.
Okay.
And they always share the sacred herb. They call it ganja. That's where the Rastas actually got it from. It's a very ancient culture. And, you know, I'm really glad to see also all of the, having started smoking herb at a very young age, and by the way, taking good 10 years off of it. 1969 to 1979, I didn't participate in partaking any of it.
Really?
None of it at all. That means I went to Woodstock.
I was just going to say.
Woodstock completely straight.
Wow.
Look at this. Because I decided to take a 10-year break to see what that was like. I also did that for sex and food. Wow. Not 10 years, but I did my good share of it to learn. Because that's what I feel is what we need to be all about, learning. And this ganja movement sometimes is like seen as like you smoke herb and it's you're dumb.
Yeah.
But no, it's the contrary. You sometimes numbing yourself a little bit from the outside to get the little spark out of the inside going and coming out to the outside from that spark on the inside with new ideas that you would have not.
Some inspiration.
There we go, inspiration. So speaking of Woodstock.
Oh wow.
That's my picture.
Wow.
Woodstock.
Can we take this? The cover of Newsweek. Here you are. This is
Fantuzzi.
Can you please
Let's
not even tiptoe around this anymore. Let's beautifully transition into our next segment of Woodstock. Can you please paint this picture for us?
Of what was Woodstock?
Yes.
What it was like to be
there.
The experience.
The experience of actually being there.
Okay, the movement was taking off everywhere. So being there was being here now. And it was, everyone was starting to wake up. And it was, we didn't take what our parents told us to do.
Right.
We asked, well, why should we do that? We were looking for answers.
Sure.
And we went all the way to Woodstock to find the answers.
Where did you travel from to
I
get to
was in
Woodstock?
I was born and raised in Harlem, New York City. And my father moved to Puerto Rico, so I went down to visit him when I heard about the party of parties, the festival of festivals. And when I heard about it, I went, I'm there. Even though I was only 17 years old and I was already hundreds and hundreds of miles down in Puerto Rico, I said to my father very sternly, I am leaving and I need you to buy me a ticket. Like,
Wow.
like right now, you know, like now in the next couple of days, because it was time. You know what I mean?
You gotta go now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean because there was 20 miles of traffic jams in every direction. The buzz was out. Everybody knew what time it is.
Oh.
It was time to go to Woodstock. I got to the airport in New York, and somebody said, "You want to ride? We're going to Woodstock."
No way.
And my mother was always first place. I had started traveling at a very young age, even before that.
Sure.
But always mom was, I gave my greetings to when I got back to New York. But I knew it was time to grab that ride. I would have missed it. I was already, I didn't only get 5 miles from the gathering. I had to walk the last 5 miles. That's as far as we got.
Sure.
But everywhere was a song and a celebration. The minute I got out of the car, pulled my guitar out, started strumming it, another person was strumming where theirs over there, and another one beating their bongos over there. People were making love and cuddling and hanging out in the puddle of flowers over there. It was crazy fun. It was so much magic. The magic that I see, because a lot of young people ask me, what do you see different then, different now?
Right.
Because I'm about the festival culture as I am as strong in the hemp movement.
Sure.
If not, maybe even more so. So we're changing the world one festival at a time.
Absolutely.
So they asked me, because I was at the festival of festivals, not everybody got there, you know? So I say, what was different? It's hard to say what was different, but we have a lot now that we didn't have there.
Right.
Like this tool
Like
that
this.
we're having now.
Oh, absolutely.
All the wisdom and knowledge you guys have that you wouldn't even had if you were 100 and something years old back in the 60s. Because it wasn't available like it is now, you know? So the beautiful thing about that Woodstock itself that I found nowhere else was the love bombs were big. The love bombs were going off left and right. People were giving of themselves, of anything. Like, it was raining like crazy, so it was cold at night.
So giving was a huge part of it.
So people would say, hey,
You cold?
you cold? There's room in my tent. It's not a lot of room because I already gave it up for lots of other people.
Right.
But there's a corner left if you like.
Yes.
Nice.
And so that you know, even in the festivals I go to now, you don't see quite that level of love bomb.
Right.
You know?
Because I feel like nowadays some people wouldn't want to give that extra maybe foot or two because they want to be a little bit more comfortable.
Of course.
Or maybe they're just not all
Of
that
course.
comfortable with letting a stranger
Scared of
think
Exactly. All that is not like is it was back then.
Sure.
It was, you know, we had that kind of attitude that, you know, people were
Where do you
just
think
like,
that attitude came from? Because it really just kind of came out of from nowhere. It seems
it's
like.
from raw times, you know. Raw times where the further you go back, we were more human because we had to fight to survive, you know, so we were there for each other as humans. And there was less people on the planet.
Sure.
You understand?
Yes.
So it just
Yes.
it keeps shifting a little bit.
Yes.
So Woodstock was crazy wonderful. We're talking about Santana jumps on. His 16-year-old drummer has a 10-minute solo in the biggest freaking festival in history.
Where were you at during
Are
that?
you kidding? Well, I can't remember shit, even though I didn't take anything. I was taking a lot as a young man.
Right.
And I just chose to not take anymore.
Sure.
But I can't remember exactly where I was at that moment. I'll tell you where I was at Richie Havens. Richie Havens came out first. I was told a cool story. Don't know how true it was, but no one would go out because it was like 500,000 people. Who's ever performed in front of 500,000 people? Certainly not me. I'm not going to be the first. And my brother Richie, who I played with a bunch of times, Richie Havens.
Yes.
He said, I'll play. I'm ready.
All right.
And he just came out alone, like maybe with one other little guitar player and somebody playing some chords.
Sure.
And he started playing. Oh, when he played La Palm again, I call it a cosmic orgasm. I jumped up on my feet and put my hands over my head and went, oh! And they even caught that moment at the original Woodstock film. I'm there, right after Richie. So then comes Santana. Then I'm going to move it straight fast up to Sly and the Family Stone.
Right.
Back in those days, Sly was the king.
Yeah.
He had so many songs on the hit parade, and he was so cool. It was that cutting edge and being straight up. Don't call me Whitey, nigga. Don't call me nigga Whitey. It was like, another level, We are family, all my brothers, sisters, and me.
Yeah.
Anyway, my brother took it at midnight with his whole band. And he took us higher. I remember that moment. I was in the back of 500,000 people, all throwing our hands up and peace signs up in the air, repeating after Sly, I want to take you higher. We went higher. 500,000 people.
wow.
It was just a freaking rush.
Oh,
It was
bet,
like,
I bet.
and then Jimmy, I'll finish the last story.
Yeah.
Jimmy, of course, was saved for last,
Yes.
as in Jimi Hendrix, for
Yes.
those out there
Yeah,
who may
who
not
don't,
understand.
For the young kids.
Yeah.
And the future generation.
For those that aren't experienced.
Jimmy was like the bomb of the bomb, so they saved him for last. But things were so confusing and so intense, with a rainstorm like never before, with the biggest festival like never before, like with 20 miles of traffic jams in every direction like never before, that Jimmy came out at sunrise the following morning. It was that delayed,
Oh, wow.
the
No
festival.
way.
And 480,000 people went home because
Right,
they
right.
had
They
to go
missed
home.
it.
They had jobs, they had kids, they had school, they had all these responsibilities. So 20,000 or 30,000 only left of us were there with Jimmy, and Jimmy ripped it like he never ripped it, didn't you? Numbers don't mean a damn
No.
thing. We
No.
all know that.
All those people missed the performance of a
No,
lifetime.
they didn't, because if I give you a second of his guitar right now, you'll remember it. This is what you heard. That came from Woodstock,
No.
that famous
Yes,
recording.
Oh, and you were there to just.
I was right there blazing. The two brothers playing percussionists were my homies.
Really?
I was this close from playing. In fact, one show he didn't play right on time because he was probably getting some good stuff in the back.
Right.
I jumped on the conga drums and tore it up.
Oh.
I got a standing ovation.
Awesome.
And inspiration comes from within. I took a trip so far when I stopped smoking. I went into yoga.
Sure.
I stopped everything, and I'm still 45 years
You've been
a
playing
vegetarian
since like a young
since-
age too, right?
Since 1969, when we had Woodstock, the month before it, I became a vegetarian. I also became a yogi maybe a year before that or around that time.
Sure.
So I went deep into some other, so I get my inspiration from loving the spirit and not from outside. So I don't really play other people's music.
Right.
Right.
But if you play me and you turn me on to stuff,
Sure.
I'm always open
Sure.
Right.
and enjoying music from especially a lot of the youth,
Yes.
and cultures that are not heard of before. They turn me on the most.
Yes. A whole culture.
And I've heard
of
you've been
sounds.
working on a documentary kind of inspired by the Occupy.
That's
movement.
right. I called it Occupy Your Heart. And I was in part of that Occupy movement. I spent a month there on Wall Street
Nice.
with the Occupy movement. And I also was at Cannabis Cup, you know. I was the high priest for Cannabis Cup in Woodstock. I mean, not Woodstock, Amsterdam
Yes.
in Amsterdam. And I also emceed it as an announcer for a couple of decades. And that was really a fun thing to do.
Absolutely.
So I'm super excited to be at Munchie Cup #1.
Right?
Knowing that things are moving forward in this culture, in this movement, because that's what time it is. It's time to get out the medicine so that the people that are enslaved to the drugs of the chemical companies and
Yes.
stuff can free themselves
Absolutely.
and have a better life.
Definitely.
And not to mention all those who are suffering from cancer and different other diseases that obvious that hemp, that ganja, that marijuana is showing that it is helping out.
Yeah, so many
immensely.
uses.
So I'm really excited to be a part of this movement, and you guys are working in that.
Absolutely.
So,
definitely.
right?
Absolutely. We're very passionate about it being independent radio, that we can work with MMJ companies to positively spread the whole, message
Exactly.
to the whole universe.
We've
on
been
this
doing this since
beautiful
a young age, especially growing up somewhere where it's not as tolerated as a place like here in Colorado. Growing up in the Midwest.
in the heart of Wisconsin.
And being young kids seeing like, we don't understand what's wrong with it. It's just a plant.
Love bombs, yeah.
I love
Love
it.
bombs,
Yeah.
yeah. Love bombs, yeah. So I've got two things for you. FantuzziMusic.com, FANTUZZI, music, MUSIC.com is my website, our website. Kat helps out with everything. She's the magic undercurrent that puts all the things together, including the movie that's coming out. She's been part of that.
Awesome.
And not to mention the book is already, we had a meeting the day before yesterday with a person who's can help us with the first print.
Oh, wow.
And that's coming up soon.
Stories of Fantuzzi.
So I bet.
And the stories go back from Harlem,
Because you got to
when-
hang out with some of the original, like, the beat poets.
That's right. I
Yes,
was hanging
yes.
out. That's right. When I became a hipster or a hip young man, there were the hippies were just barely getting in the
Right.
picture. The beatniks were still in the picture.
Right.
So I got some juju, some magic
Sure.
passed on down from them, and then collected plenty from the hippies.
Yes.
And went to the Rainbow Gathering since the first one, never hardly missed it.
Wow.
And kept on going to Burning Man 15 years in a row.
Excellent.
I'm not doing them now,
Right.
but the festival culture has been part of where I've been able to play my music
Absolutely.
and share my visions and my love, and all of us been able to share what we have. She's a Thai massage teacher and doctor, therapist, and I've got one song before because I don't know how long I could last. I might be called for duty
Sure.
inside.
Sure.
Mhm.
Could you please bless us?
Yes, I have a song called Hemp, Hooray.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
And when I
Thank
say hemp, you say.
Hooray.
When I say hemp, you say.
Hooray.
Hemp,
Hooray.
hemp,
Hooray.
hemp.
Hooray.
Hemp can save the world from many a disease. Make better paper without cutting trees. George Washington, father of his nation, smoked his homegrown medication. Thomas Jefferson, known for the Bill of Rights, smoked his herb both day and night. Doctors should prescribe it, and that is for sure. For glaucoma, so many things can be a cure. Hemp,
Hooray.
hemp,
Hooray.
hemp,
Hooray.
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 Oh,
Yes, thank you.
Thank
that's
you
absolutely
so
amazing
much.
with the fire
Thank
behind you. Oh, that's
Thank
gonna
you.
be on there.
Isn't that beautiful?
Oh, that was.
Thank
that
you,
was
family.
amazing.
Thank you, family. We love you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you for everything.